He's a nobody right up until he's not. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the film Nobody. This film came out March 26th of 2021, although the release date got shifted 4 times because of COVID, and they finally dropped it back in March. It had a budget of $16 million, and upon release it made 27 in America and 55 worldwide. Given the state of the theatrical experience at that point, a lot of theaters weren't open. That is not a bad haul, and it did get really good reviews upon release. I just watched it twice in the last week, and I was excited just to talk about it, so we're going to talk about it right now. This film was directed by Ilya Nisholer, and the cast has Bob Odenkirk as Hutch. Bob Odenkirk is most famous for Better Call Saul, and he was in Breaking Bad. Connie Nielsen plays his wife, Becca. Christopher Lloyd, the great Christopher Lloyd, plays David. It's his father. And Michael Ironsides makes an appearance as Eddie. He's his wife's father, plus he's his boss, because he works for this little metal shop that we see right in the beginning of the film, the mundaneness of his everyday life. And this film was written by the same gentleman who wrote all the John Wick films, and he also produced this film along with David Lech, who co-directed the first John Wick film, and Tobey Maguire, which kind of took me off guard, but yes, Tobey Maguire is one of the producers on this film. And this film is definitely in the John Wick vein. I think you could tell that from the trailers, if you saw the trailers back in March when this was released. And it's definitely in the same universe. They could even do a crossover. I mean, this definitely has the connective tissue to John Wick universe. But let's just talk about this film on its own. This film introduces the Hutch right in the beginning, and they definitely show his unhappiness and the mundaneness of his suburban life. He lives in the suburbs with his wife and his 2 kids. We see him getting up in the morning, always missing being late with getting the garbage cans out for the garbage truck, and then getting on the bus and going to work. He goes to work, he comes home. Him and his wife kind of get it out of the way right away, haven't had sex in a while. They don't even really kiss that much, and his son really doesn't respect him. We get the feeling right in the beginning of the film, because we find out his son's doing a project on military, and he asks his father. And his dad, and Hutch is like, well, I was just an auditor in the military. I don't really have many exciting stories. You might want to talk to your grandfather. He actually saw action. And we can see Hutch isn't thrilled with the way his life's going. But we don't know what his past was like yet. We do find out fairly quickly, because this movie's only an hour and 32 minutes. And it shoots by at a breeze, for sure. And then one night, this couple break into their house. This one woman and this man break into the house, and they're just looking for money, anything worth any valuable things they can get their hands on. And Hutch grabs his golf club and is going to stop him. And his son comes down, tackles the guy, and the girl has a gun. But Hutch notices something, and the camera really doesn't show you. And Hutch is going to waylay her with the golf club, and he decides not to. And he tells his son to let the guy go, and he lets him go with his watch and some money that they got. And right away, the cops that come are kind of making him feel like shit. Like the one cop's like, I would have did so much more. Those people would have paid for breaking into my house. And Hutch is already feeling bad about what happened. And later that night, when he gets home from work, his daughter happens to say that her kitty cat brace is missing. Well, Hutch thinks these people took it. And he saw a tattoo on this girl's shoulder. So he decides to go to this tattoo parlor with this rough couple-looking gentleman. And the guy at the counter is kind of blowing him off. And Hutch gives his speech trying to get a reaction, and there's this Vietnam vet sitting there, and he sees his tattoo on Hutch's wrist. And he gets up right away, he goes, "Thank you for your service, sir," and he takes off and locks the door behind him and disappears. Which I found out that tattoo means death. So it must have been something, and this guy knew what it meant, and he knew Hutch was trouble. And Hutch tries to get his daughter's kitty cat bracelet back. He tracks this couple to their apartment, which is not a very nice apartment. And he cold cocks the husband, and he wants this bracelet back, and then he hears a baby start crying, and he decides just to leave, and he takes off and leaves. Now this is where we find out what kind of a badass Hutch really is. He gets on this bus, and he's going home, and there's this young woman who gets on, and all of a sudden these drunk assholes get on, and they start messing with this young woman. And then Hutch basically, once the bus stops, because they start giving people a lot of shit in the bus, he basically gets up and goes, "I'm going to fuck you guys up." And what precedes it is a really spectacular fight, but it also shows that Hutch is rusty. He hasn't done this in a while. And he's trying to get his frustrations out. He's pissed off, he's angry at the world, and this is his way to release it. And he kicks their ass, but he also gets his ass kicked, and he goes home and he gets patched up by his wife, and she's aware of his past, we find out really quickly. And here we come to find out that Hutch was an auditor for one of the 3-letter agencies out there, and if he came to your place or was coming for you, that meant your ass, because he was going to kill you. He was basically an assassin. that his kids don't know about, but the wife knows about. We get that sense. And his father was in the military as well, because we see Christopher Lloyd. He goes to visit him in this rest home. And pretty soon the Russians get pissed because this Russian owns this nightclub and takes care of the Russian mob's money, finds out his brother was one of the guys in the bus and he dies in the hospital. They send a hit squad to Dutch's house, and Dutch kills a bunch of them, and then it's basically a battle between Hutch and this nightclub owner until the end of the film. We get this spectacular action scene at the end of the film at where Hutch's place of work is. And that is pretty much the end of Nobody. I'm not going to give everything away here because it's a fairly new movie. I know a lot of people haven't seen it yet. If you like John Wick, I think you would love Nobody. It's really well done. Bob Odenkirk is fantastic in this role as this middle-aged guy who is trying to be a normal person in the suburbs, help raising his kid, his son and daughter, trying to live a normal life compared to what he used to live. And he even says during the film when he's talking about his experiences before, and he's like, maybe I overcorrected. He misses that life. That was a way for him to get out his frustrations. And now he doesn't have that, and he's trying to not show that side of him, that forceful side of him. And then it just comes out in a fury of anger and bullets and fists, and it's one spectacularly shot. And Bob Odenkirk trained for 2 years for this film. And you can even tell when they shoot the fight scene, especially the bus fight. The bus fight took 3 days to shoot. They shoot him at low and wide angles, and you can tell Bob Odenkirk's on screen. They said he did 95% of the stunts. And for a guy of his age, that must have been a little daunting, but he went for it. He said it was fun to do all that stuff, the fight scenes and all that stuff. So kudos to him. He took a page right out of Keanu Reeves, and he went for it. And good for him. It really shows on film. I think it's a spectacular action film. It's funny in parts. The character, Hutch, is very likable, and so is his wife, even though their marriage is a little stale. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I watched it twice in the last week. I had to talk about it and do a review for it. If you have not seen this film yet, check it out. I would give Nobody an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really well done, hard R action film with some good performances, some funny lines, and just everything you want in a nice hard R action film. And it's not long. It's an hour and 32 minutes long. They set the film up, and then it's off to the races. And it's just a fun ride. I highly recommend it. Yes, 8.5 out of 10 for Nobody. Have you seen this film yet? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back later in the week with a review for Fear Street Part 3, 1666. And by Sunday, you'll see a review drop for Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. Until then, I hope you're all doing well out there, and bye.